Hello and welcome to the channel where we talk about all things Weiss Schwarz and chill with friends. My name is Liam and today we've got some AI cards to review. Now, if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and if you enjoy what we do here, please let me know by hitting that like button. As well as that, check out my other social medias on Twitch, on Discord, and on Twitter. Links are down in the description below. But let's jump straight in. Now, today I thought I'd start something a bit fun, a bit different, where I'm going to be reviewing some AI Weiss Schwarz cards created by none other than Jamie Delo, creator of Host WCG. So before we carry on, please make sure you check out the host announcement video, and I've got some more host content coming out very soon with a deck opening, as well as talking about how to play host. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing this series on Weiss Schwarz AI cards. But if you have any AI cards that you would like to create for a certain series, whether that series already exists and you want to create some updates, or it's a brand new series to come to Weiss Schwarz, let me know on Discord, send me a private message, and yeah, make 10 images and I'll review them as part of the series. And on that note, let's jump straight in. And the first card we've got to review is Enigmatic Prodigy Ray 1 Maya. It's from Ergo Proxy. If you've never seen that, check it out. If you have two or more other Ergo Proxy characters on the stage, gains 1k, makes it a 3/5 level 0. Pretty good, actually. But also, when this card attacks, if you have no other Enigmatic Prodigy Ray 1 Maya characters on the stage, you may reveal the top card of your deck, and if the revealed card is a proxy character, you may add it to your hand and then put one card from your hand into your waiting room. Kind of interesting. It means that you can't just like spam 3 of these to get the extra effect and just have a board of beaters, 3/5 beaters. Overall, as a card, yeah, I don't see a problem with it. It's an interesting card. You know, I don't think it's anything too fancy, but yeah, I can see this working. I'd give this a solid 6 out of 10. And the next one we've got is Hakame Tiny Explorer. I have no idea what this is from. I have to check. It's a 002k base, another double rare. If you have 3 or more other characters with Hakame in next names on the stage, this card gains 1,500 power. And then when this card is placed from stage to hand, hand to stage, you may choose one of your other characters with Hakame in its card name and return it to your hand. Okay. And then when this card is placed into your waiting room from the stage, if you have 2 or more other Hakame characters, you may draw a card. Interesting. The second effect, I don't know what he's trying to do with the second effect. The return another Hakame to hand. Unless you have a card that's like on play, do something, then you can play this Hakame Tiny Explorer and bring that back to your hand and play that back again. I could see this being abused very easily. In terms of a reasonable card, I think it's too strong. As a card, as a general effect, depending on obviously what the Hakame's of ones are, it's very strong. So in terms of playability, if it was ever released, a solid 9 out of 10. In terms of do I think this effect is ever going to come to Weiss? 0. I think this effect is way too strong. But interesting to say the least. And the next card on the list is Kotetsu Wild Tiger, a 3/2, 9/5 power, 2 soul base, of course. When this card attacks, if you have 2 or other characters with Kotetsu in their names on the stage, this card gains 4,000 power and the following ability. This card cannot be chosen as the target of your opponent's card effects until end of turn. Okay, interesting. And then on attack with Climax combo and Wild Impact is in your Climax area, you may choose one of your opponent's level 3 or lower characters and put it into the waiting room, then deal 2 damage to your opponent, and if the damage is cancelled, deal 2 damage again. That's an interesting finisher. So not only are you getting a bounce back on one of your opponents, that's pretty cool, but also it's a burn 2, and if that cancels, burn 2 again, so you've basically got a double chance of making that burn happen. And then the first effect as well would mean that they basically, as long as you've got two or more other Kotetsus in play, it gains an extra 4k, making it 13/5. I assume the Climax would be on I'd assume a door, but the fact it also gains hexproof on attack, that's quite interesting. I don't think this is a terrible card. And I also don't think this is unreasonable either. I would expect this to be on a door. I don't think it'll be on a standby. Definitely wouldn't be on a stock soul at this point for a level 3. So probably definitely a door. But yeah, I kind of like this. And this is a really cool little effect. The fact that it's locked to Kotetsu in the card name is kind of rough. Would be much better if it was Wild Tiger trait or Hero trait. I think that would be better. But yes, I actually kind of rate this. As a playable card, yeah, sure, it's not a bad combo. A solid 7, potentially even an 8 out of 10. In terms of do I think it would come to Weiss? Absolutely. I think this is actually a viable effect. It might even be an effect that I might tweak a little bit for a Climax combo in my Danganronpa custom set, maybe for the despair side where, oh, I've survived taking damage, no, you're taking it again. Like, it's kind of flavorful for Junko. That's interesting. This is giving me food for thought. I rate this card. I really like this card. And the next card is Nozomi Fiery Cyclist. During your turn, if you have 3 or more other characters with Nozomi in its name, it gains 1,500 power. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a character with Rolling Girls in its name, I assume it's Rolling Girls trait, you add it to your hand. Otherwise, you may choose one of your opponent's level 0 or lower characters, and that card gains 2,000 power to the end of the turn. That's quite a big downside. And then during your turn, if you have 1 or fewer cards in your hand, this card gains the ability, this card cannot be chosen as a target by your opponent's card effects. I think for a level 0 3k, this card has got way too much going on. Like, even 2k power buff as a downside does not pay off the potential positives of this card. I think this card is potentially too strong, but also I don't think it'll see a lot of play unless every single character in the deck was Rolling Girls and you just got to pure add it to hand. You'd run it to the 4 immediately. But it's just a +1. It's just a free +1 for nothing with a potential downside. And the fact you can only target one of your opponent's level 0 or lower characters means that if you play this late game and your opponent's got no level 0s out, you don't care. You just go, oh, I can't give it anywhere, sorry, or oh, I've got to give it to a back row. It doesn't say specifically center stage either. So the downside of that card is not a downside. This card is too broken. This card should not exist. This card is, no, not playable. It's not playable. It's playable. It's most certainly playable. But will it ever come to Weiss? I hope not. As a playable card in its own right, sure, it's a card you play a 4 of. Let's be honest here. Card good. And the next card we have got, oh my god, Phosphor. Phosphophyllite. Fragile Gem. Level 1, 6k, 0 cost. Okay. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, choose one of your opponent's level 0 lower characters and that character gains -1,000 power. That's a really good effect. And then when this card attacks, if you have the Lustrous Strike climax in play, if you have 2 or more other characters with Phosphostat in its card name on the stage, choose one of your opponent's level 2 or lower characters. This card deals damage equal to this card's power to that character. If the character is reversed by this damage, you may salvage one level 1 or lower character from your range. So basically what it's trying to say is, I think, AI's got a little confused here. I think what it's saying is, say this is 6,000 with climax, say 7,000, say it's my choice. It's got 2 soul base as well. Okay. But yes, a 1-0, 6-7k with combo. And basically, if the card that you choose, which is a level 2 or lower character, has less power than the power that this card has, basically reverse it before damage happens, and then salvage one if that works. Salvage a level 1 or lower. This card is too good. This card shouldn't exist. Why has this happened? No, go away. Not only can you target any level 0 or lower character and give it -1,000 power, meaning those 500 or 1,000 power brainstorms or supports in the back row just go bye-bye. And then the climax combo is also kind of nuts. Again, I assume that the AI was trying to say if you've got 2 or more other gem characters, I was guessing. This card is way too strong. Like, this should be maybe, well, first of all, it should be 1 soul. Secondly, it should be 3,000, 4,000 power at most, with maybe an on-play gain 2k effect. The -1,000 power should be locked to center stage. Even the climax combo, I believe, should be locked to center stage. It should definitely not be locked to beat any character. Again, this card is way too strong. This card is way too strong. AI, chill, please. Stop. Yeah, this card is too strong. Moving on. The next card we've got is Radiant Savior, Madoka Kaname. It's a 1-0 with 6-5 power and a Soul Trigger icon. Right. When it's played on stage from hand or by change effect, you may draw 1. Not even draw 1, ditch 1, just draw 1. And then on attack, if you've got Power of Friendship in your climax area, you may choose up to 2 Madoka Kaname characters in your waiting room, return it to your hand, and if you do, this card gains 3,000 power at the end of the turn. This card is nuts. This card is stupid nuts. It's a +1 on play, just from drawing. It's also basically, let's be honest, a +2 on, oh, I've got to choose Madoka Kaname's from waiting room. Oh, I'll just choose copies of level 1, or like, yeah, dumb. And then it's 9-5 with climax, probably be on a bar. The 10-5 with no downside and a Soul Trigger icon. No. I'm forgetting about the rating system here. No. There's no.
Nope.
No.
No, God!
No. And the next card we've got is, Rico from Maiden Abyss. Rico Abyss Explorer, 2/1, Soul Trigger Icon, makes sense. Base 2 Soul. Interesting, there's not many 2/1s that exist with base 2 Soul. On play from hand, you may draw a card, and if you do, choose one of your opponents with characters with a lower level than this card, and that character cannot stand during your opponent's next stand phase. Okay. Rico's also got a climax combo. When this card attacks and you've got Journey Descent in your climax area and you have 3 or more other characters with Rico in its card name, choose up to 1 character in your opponent's front row and move it to the waiting room. Choose one of your opponent's characters and that character gains minus 2,000 power at the end of the turn. And you may put one of your opponent's climaxes from their waiting room into their stock. And then during your turn, if you have 2 or more other characters with red in its card name on the stage, this card gains 1,000 power and hexproof. Let's unpack that, shall we? First of all, this should be a level 3. Again, it's an on-play +1 from drawing. Sure, it should be a draw 1, ditch 1 at least, and with like locked to a 2 or more other character like restriction. And then also the fact that if you do, you choose an opponent's character with lower level than this card, and then that character cannot stand during the next stand phase. That is too dumb for what else this card brings. The climax combo itself, like you've got to have 3 or more other Rico. So basically the second effect, the climax combo, and the third effect, which requires 2 or more Regu, unless you've got characters on the stage that have both Rico and Reg in its name, you can't do both these effects. But the climax combo itself is just sack off one of your opponent's characters. Reminds a lot of Frederica from both 3. But then also choose another character to one of their characters and give it minus 2,000 power. Again, not locked to front row, should be front row. And then also put one of your opponent's climaxes from their waiting room into the stock. So that's kind of a downside because you're basically giving your opponent a stop, but it is a climax, and if they're about to refresh, that could be detrimental. Too strong. And then the third effect as well, the fact that it can gain hexproof for an extra K. Like, that final effect, I think it's kind of fine. Should all this be on an 8K 2 soul 2/1? No. It should probably be on maybe a 6K at max. Then it becomes a 7K with hexproof with climax, probably a pants. Make it 8K on attack. Sounds more reasonable. But yeah, so I would change this card by, if you're going to do the draw card, it'd be on play, draw 1, ditch 1, as long as you've got 2 or more other characters. And then I would just remove the whole cannot stand thing, because Jesus Christ, I like the flavor of it though. Because obviously Made in Abyss, if you stand up too quick, you basically end up throwing up, or you end up transforming into some basically abyss creature, and it's horrible. Basically deformed to hell. So kind of flavorful actually, but should it exist on this card with everything else it's got? No. The climax combo itself, just on attack, sack a character off, as long as you've got 3 or more other characters with Rico. Yeah, sure. Again, I feel there should be a 3 or more other Abyss characters, but just sacking off a character. I'd potentially also say sack a character with level less than this, or a level equal to or lower than this card, where you might be able to run a reg that's tapped, give this a level. Sure. That would work, and make this a level 2 combo. I think giving the character minus 2,000 power just doesn't need to be there. And honestly, I would say actually the stock that the opponent gains, if you are going to keep the 2,000 power name, I would say that your opponent gets to choose a character card, so they can choose to put whatever they want in the stock. I think that would be the fair way of balancing this. And again, the fact that it gets hexproof, that final effect, I think is actually okay. And again, I would say this should be a 1 soul card, not a 2 soul card. Yeah, I see what it's trying to do here, and it's definitely plausible. I would give this a solid 4 out of 10 effort for AI here. Well, 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. I'll give you benefit of the doubt here. Good job, AI. This is okay. And the next card we've got is Roger Negotiator. During your turn, all of your other Roger characters in a name gain 1,000 power. When this card attacks, if you have 3 or more other Roger characters, you may put the top card of your clock into your waiting room. If that card is a climax, choose one of your opponent's level 3 or lower characters that gets minus 5,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then when this card is placed from stage to hand, you may choose one of your opponent's level 2 or lower characters return to your hand. Hold up, it's a 2/2, not with a Soul Trigger icon, with a standby icon. Okay, with 8/5 base, so okay, let's break this down. So the fact it's got a standby icon instead of a normal soul trigger is interesting. We're seeing a lot of cards now that give climax triggers to named cards, but the fact that this one has it built in, kind of interesting. And kind of here for it. It's interesting, but I would say that this then needs to be less power. I would say this needs to be probably a 7k. The 2/2/2 soul, sure, that's fine. So it's on attack, not even climax combo. On attack, if you've got 3 or more other Roger, heal 1, and then if that heal was a climax, give something minus 5,000 power. That is too good. That should be on a climax combo, at least. At least. I also don't think it should be on level 2. If you've got this on attack heal thing, that should only ever be on a level 3. In a standby deck, you can at least get out at level 2. If you can get this off at level 1 in a standby deck, which inherently in itself, it's a standby. So if you trigger a Roger, bring out a Roger, yeah, this should at least be on level 3. And the bounce back is just unnecessary. AI, you've done too much again. Not gonna rate this. No, too strong. Power creep is happening too much. Don't like it. Stop. And the next card we've got is Shichika, Deviant Blade. It's a 1/1 with Soul Trigger icon. Sure. 7,500 power. During your turn, if this is the only character in your center stage, gain 3,000 power. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, if you have 3 or more other Shichika characters, you may choose one of your opponent's level 2 or lower characters and send it to waiting room. And then auto, put this card into your waiting room at the beginning of your climax phase. If you have 4 or more other characters with Shichika in the card, then you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters, return it to their hand, and deal 1 damage to your opponent. Damage counts can occur. Okay, this is interesting. So, if it's the only character, gains 3k, kind of like that. Kind of like the whole solo samurai thing. I kind of like that. The on-play effect, I think it's counterintuitive what this card's trying to do. Because it wants to be solo, but then it also wants you to have more copies of itself. Again, I feel that it shouldn't be Shichika, it should be Samurai. So, you know, let's say it's meant to be Samurai, 3 or more other Samurai characters. And then at least you can't target level 3s, so that's fair. And it's waiting room, so your opponent has got the option to encore it as well. This is right on the edge of this effect shouldn't exist, but I could see where it could exist. A little bit of tweaking, it could work. And then the final effect, auto, as long as you've got 4 or more other of himself, or again, I'd say 4 or more other samurai characters, you may sack it to bounce a character, burn 1. So this is interesting because you're losing the character off your field. You could choose to encore it, probably wouldn't. You're still doing the burn 1, so as if you're attacking with it, I guess. So you're still doing damage with it, but then you do get a bounce back. I think this is really interesting because you could play triple Shichika at the beginning of your climax phase. I think this has got to be on play of climax rather than just beginning of climax phase. But you just sack himself off, bounce something away. I'll say if you've got to bounce something, it has to be you return the character facing this card, and if you did, then burn 1. So if you can't bounce something back, you can't use this, and you just swing as a 7/5, which would mean that will lead to some really interesting stage configurations. And this is unique. I kind of like this. I think this is really cool. Yeah, I think this could be a thing down the way. I'd give this a solid 7 out of 10. I actually think this is kind of plausible. That's scary. Maybe not 7/5 though. I think 7/5 is too strong. Maybe 5/5, 6k base, I think is fair. 6k makes it 9k on his own. It'd probably be in a standby deck. Because if it was to be on a climax combo, it would probably be a standby. Yeah, I'd probably just wipe out the second effect and just keep it with the gain power on its own and the climax combo. But I like this. This is cool. Good job. This is actually okay. And the final card for this episode is interesting. Still no Yui, Beacon of Hope. A 0/0 with 0 power with a Soul Trigger icon. Let's read the card. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, choose one of your opponent's level 0 lower characters and put it into the waiting room. If you put the character into the waiting room this way, you may pay 1 stock, and if you do, search your deck for a level 3 character and add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. When this card attacks, you may pay 1. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters, and until the end of the turn, it gains minus 10,000 power. During your turn, if your deck has 10 or fewer cards, all of your characters gain plus 2,000 power and the following ability. When this card's battle point becomes reversed, you may put that card into memory instead of sending it to waiting room, and rest 2 of your characters. If this card is in your memory, you may pay the cost, and if you do, put this card on top of your deck. Right. So first things first, this is really interesting because this could in itself be a self-destruct because you play it from stage to hand. The third effect, which says auto, that's realistically got to be a continuous effect. So it's just, when it's on the play, it's basically a 2k effect from its own right. So you can only play this card when you've got 10 or less cards in your deck. That's kind of cool because it's all of your characters, not all of your other characters. So sure. and it gives the effect of you can memory kick on death. I think that effect's too far. But regardless, you still get the on-play effect. Even if even if it just disappears afterwards, because anything that's got 0 power goes from stage to waiting room. So, like, sure, you might just play it and just get rid of it straight away. So it's on play, sack off opponent's level 0 character, and then also you may pay 1 to search for a level 3. And it has to be level 3. Sure, I kind of get that. And only if you sack a character off, which might trigger an opponent's effect, or if they've got an empty board, you can't do this. On attack, pay 1, give something minus 10,000 power, 2 dumb. That should be probably a pay 2, at least a pay 2 to give neg 10,000 power, because it can just sack a character off. In fact, probably even more, probably pay 3. Maybe even ditch 1 as well, or interesting. And then it's got when this card is in your memory, you may pay the cost. So rest 2 of your characters, and if you do, put this on top of your deck. That's kind of unique. I kind of like that. It's kind of like a revival mechanic. That's kind of cool. This card is so close. It's so close. It's so close to being something that could be seen, played, but it's just too much. And I think this is really cool and really unique. This is a really, really interesting card, and I'd like to see, again, going back to my Danganronpa set, a character with 0 power being fulfilled with despair could be interesting. Might be something to consider and try out. So that hasn't happened before, and that's really unique, and I kind of like it. Okay, to summarize, what a weird collection of cards, all from different anime. Some of them totally not gonna happen, totally unplayable. You know, the Madoka, the Phosphorylite, the Nozomi even, I think that's too good. The Hakame is a really weird one. The Roger, with a bit of tweaks, could be usable. The Tsurano, I think, again, with a few tweaks, that's playable. The Shichika, again, very playable. Just a few tweaks to make it work. But of them all, the Rei 1 Maya and the Kotetsu, I think, are either not far off being just good to go, or are good to go. I think they're really cool. It's really interesting to see what AI does, and I'm sure that as we put more of these through, AI will get more of an idea of, you know, the sort of things that happen in Weiss Schwarz. AI is going to get better the more we do this series. So again, if you want to have a go at making your own AI cards, it won't make the artwork, it won't put it into the system. You'll have to use Magic Set Editor and the Weiss Schwarz plugin to do that. You could quite easily, I think you can go to something like ChatGPT and search, and so like, I want to make a AI card for this character from this anime, and give it a few parameters, I guess. I'm not sure how Jamie's done it. Maybe if we can find out, I'll sort of share that on, and maybe make a few myself in a series, in a video where I make a few AI cards and see how they go. But yeah, this is really interesting. I've found this fascinating to go through these cards, to know what is the line of being too broken and too dumb, and what is the line of, actually, this is actually a thing that could be done that looks really cool. What do you think? What do you think of some of these cards? What would you rate to be the most play-friendly card and actually could see creation in the game? And what card do you think is the most broken? Let me know in the comments below. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching. Again, a massive thank you to Jamie Dilo for making these AI cards for me. Again, a shout out for him and for host WCG, where if you haven't checked it out, I did an announcement video this week. So if you want to check it out, please do. But that is it for today's video. What did you think to this? What did you think to the series? Do you like the idea? Let me know in the comments below. And if you did enjoy it, hit that like button so I know to make more. And if you are new here and you want to join the community, please consider hitting that subscribe button and check out my other socials on Twitch, on Discord, and on Twitter. All those links in the description below. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!